Well, it's the first conference test for both Baylor and Kansas about to kick off here in Lawrence. And Kansas with a new face at head coach. Let's go down to Scooby.
Thank you, Courtney. This is Coach Leipold's first time taking over a Power 5 program, but it's not his first time rebuilding a program. We saw how much of an architect he was at Buffalo. He led them to 3 straight bowl appearances and 2 bowl victories. And now that he's here at Kansas, it presents a whole new challenge. This coaching staff was brought in during the spring, and with that, they had to teach him their new philosophies and their new styles all in a short amount of time. But he said he wanted to do something that nobody else wanted to do, that nobody else thought could be done, and here he is getting it done with this team. And he looked at other former coaches that were successful here, like Glenn Mason and Mark Mangino, and saw that their philosophies fit his, and people in the program are taking notice, which paints for a good future here in Kansas. Back to you.
Yeah, Scooby, you're right. I mean, there's some great energy around Kansas right now. A 1-1 start for the Jayhawks. They were tested last week against a ranked Coastal team on the road, but now they face Baylor, a team who has won the last 11 meetings with Kansas.
Courtney, you gotta love this atmosphere. The music's loud, here we go.
And they'll let that one sail into the end zone, so Baylor is gonna start on its own 25-yard line. And they come out with Gary Bohannon in at quarterback. This is a guy who has been around the Baylor program and finally getting that chance to be the starter.
Yeah, and having to take the place of Charlie Brewer, a guy that threw for almost 10,000 yards in the Big 12, took him to a Big 12 championship, learning a new offense under Dave Aranda, and he's really supplemented himself as the supplanted himself as the guy.
Yeah, he accounted for 5 total touchdowns last week. That is the most by a Baylor quarterback since 2016. So here they go. Bohannon has Abram Smith to his left, 2 wide receivers on the near side, and the first play they will hand it off to Abram Smith. Look at what he can do, a first down on the first play.
This offense that Jeff Grimes has brought over from BYU, it's about movement up front. It's about taking those 300-pounders and being able to extend plays and turn the gaps into difficult positions on the defensive front. There was a perfect example of it, finding a big hole, and Ebner found it and made a big gain.
So they'll go pistol look after a 14-yard pickup. Abram Smith still lined up behind Gary Bohannon. Yeah, I'd give it to him again, too. Falls forward for about a pickup of 3 yards, almost to midfield.
Nate Betts there with the... It's going to be important for Nate and any other of the linebackers that are scraping towards the play to protect against that cutback. As you saw right there, if he's not there to make the tackle, that's probably 6th going the other way.
Baylor's offense last week, 714 total yards.
That's some ground now.
Gary Bohannon, he can move, but there's a defender there and ready to grab him and swarm him up. It's Caleb Sampson.
Now this is exactly what the deep front needs to do. Watch him as he pushes away and he just discards Jacob Gall, the running back, to pull him down almost for a tackle for loss.
3rd and 9. Treston Ebner now the back with Gary Bohannon. 2 wide receivers either side. Clock winding down, 3 seconds. Little option look, and they pitch it out to Ebner. He's going to be a couple yards short of the first down.
Good play call. You saw as they checked from the sideline, and sure enough, they had leverage in the numbers on the outside, but good pursuit, getting them out of bounds is going to set up a 4th down. We talked to Dave Aranda about when you go for it on 4th down, what that's going to be about. They've really adapted to the idea of analytics, and when it's a 4th down opportunity, this was the chart, whatever it says, go for it.
And they're going for it. They're 4 and 5 on the season on 4th down. Empty backfield for Bohannon until they move over Ebner out of the pistol. Ebner gets the call. Up the middle, he's got the first down to the 45, over the 45, inside Kansas territory.
Big play, you know, a lot of time on 4th down. Everybody's up at the line of scrimmage. If you were able to break through that one line you could be off to the races. Luckily for them, they had a great tackle by Ricky Thomas getting in there to pull him down. Otherwise, that probably would have been 6.
We've already seen both backs being used heavily in this first drive, Treston Ebner and Abram Smith, who is in there now. Josh Fleeks in motion. Another handoff. Smith picks up 4. What are the difference in these two backs?
Well, I would say that Treston's more of a guy that's a finesse feel back where he can break away, and Abram Smith's more the guy that will put his foot in the ground, Courtney, and absolutely run right through you.
Yeah.
There's just, it's a thunder and lightning kind of mentality, if you want to use that analogy.
Well, Abram Smith also played linebacker last year, so I get the physicality.
Yeah.
Pass complete over the top. R.J. Sneed, first down to the 20.
What makes this possible was the amount of time that Gary Bohannon had back there. He had all day to take a look, and that was the crosser that was coming all the way across the field to the open void.
And this offensive line much improved, giving him a comfortable pocket. Another complete pass to Josh Fleeks at the 14-yard line, a pickup of 6.
Bottom line is this Kansas team's going to have to be able to make tackles in space today, because they're going to have to put a lot of people at the line of scrimmage to try to stop this running game. That puts a lot of pressure on those safeties, Ricky Thomas, Kenny Logan Jr., as well as those corners out there. And Romello Dotson made a good open field tackle right there.
Second and 4 on the Kansas 14. Ebner is the back. Off of play action, Bohannon looking downfield, spots somebody in the end zone, and the connection is made to the tight end, Ben Sims. What a first drive.
Well, this is the second week I've called consecutive games, and I've yet to see Baylor punt it. So this one is just a good job by Gary Bohannon. Watch him move in the pocket here, and he waits for Ben Sims to come across the field. I wouldn't call it a busting coverage, but Romello Dotson just simply loses him and cannot get to the spot. But Ben Sims goes up and high points the ball. I think Gary Bohannon threw it the only place that Ben could come down with it.
That's his 4th career receiving touchdown for Ben Sims, and now Isaiah Hankins on to attempt the PAT. No problem, hasn't missed one all season. Baylor with a great start on this drive. They looked in control.
They've looked in control all year long. There was some up and downs against Texas State, but they were here to play. The Baylor Bears lead in Lawrence, 7-0.
Well, the focus for this Baylor offense has been confidence, and boy, did they look confident on the first drive. 9 plays, 75 yards, and a 14-yard touchdown pass to Ben Sims.
Yeah, I feel like this team, from top to bottom, when we're talking special teams, offense and defense, they're confident because they know what they're doing. And they're just flying around with no, not having to stop and think about what they're doing. They just know what they're doing, seeing what they see, and executing.
That helps when you've been in a year. You've had a year under your belt with your head coach, Dave Aranda, in his 2nd season, coming over after serving as the associate head coach, defensive coordinator at LSU, was on that national championship team. Now Kansas will have its first shot on offense. Kenny Logan Jr. and Luke Grimm back to receive the kickoff. And they let this one go. Well, we talked about Gary Bohannon winning a quarterback battle. Jason Mead had to do the same thing, transferred in from North Texas, and then it was in competition for the starting spot.
Yeah, and they competed for quite a while through fall camp. So much so that this is only his 17th practice as the starter. That's what coaches told us before this game. He has only had 17 practices as the actual starter. So he's learning just like everybody else, but he's the star of this offense, and they're going to do everything they can. It's a system of football they believe in, but utilizing its star in 17, Jason Bean, is what they're going to do.
He's very comfortable outside of the pocket, can extend plays with his legs. Dalton Gardner is the back behind him. He'll look to throw on his first play, and there he goes, flushed out of the pocket. In pursuit was Jalen Petrie. Petrie's a playmaker, man.
He's the engine. They're going to be running after this quarterback all game long, though. Right there, I would have loved to see Jason trust what he saw. You had a wide open, not necessarily a wide open receiver, but a guy open in his vision. Let it fly, let it rip. Trust what you see and let it go. You can't be running for your life all game long against this fast defense.
So they'll go pistol look now with Belton Gardner behind Jason Bean. 3 wide receivers on that near side. Gardner takes it and picks up a yard. It's got to be hard, too, when you don't know who your starting quarterback is. There's a battle. Plus, the coaching staff's coming in late. They took over this program really in May. So fall camp was the first time they saw a lot of these guys live.
To your point, they didn't get to see Jason Bean throw a ball in person until the beginning of fall camp.
Wow.
So how do you develop? How do you appraise some of these guys and value them? It's a work in progress is the best way to put it.
Bean looking over the middle and connects about a yard, 2 yards short of the first down. Mason Fairchild, the tight end.
I mean, it's probably the right choice early in the game, but you're not going to be able to trade punts for 7 points with this Baylor team. They're just too fast, and they're going to put up too many points. Unfortunately, they have to figure out ways to steal possessions starting now.
Yeah, so Reese Vernon comes on to punt. Treston Ebner is the returner for Baylor. Ebner's going. Flag comes out. Past the 40, past the 50, but there is a flag back down the field. Ebner takes it all the way, but we got to see what this penalty is.
Where it was thrown is most likely going to be holding.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you really needed to hold in that situation. This is just an athletic and fast group of football players that Baylor has on their roster right now.
Get the call from Michael Vandervelde. He's our white hat today.
During the return, holding number 12, receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down, timeout.
Holding takes away this punt return for a touchdown.
Watch the hold there as Kalen Barnes just pulls him down. Baylor takes the ball for their second series, 7-0.
Today.
Well, the list of milestones last week for Baylor, it's extensive, but here's a few highlights. There's 66 points, 714 total yards, the most since 2015. They scored touchdowns on their first 7 drives. I mean, it goes on and on. Ryan, you got to see them in person. What stood out the most last week about Baylor?
They were unrelenting, right? No, both offensively and defensively, but particularly on offense. They just kept pounding you and pounding you and pounding you into submission. And that's what they're looking to do today. As you saw, I think they ran on the first 5 or 6 plays of the game before they ever even threw a pass.
Yeah, both backs, Ebner and Smith, got about equal carries on that opening drive where they scored a touchdown. This is Abram Smith for the first down. Crosses over the 30 to about the 34.
This is going to be an incredibly long day for the Kansas Jayhawks. If their inability to fill those guys. Watch the cutback here. This is the biggest part of it. He cuts back across the direction. Maybe if the official isn't in his way, he's off to the races there. But these safeties are going to be in on every single play tonight.
His longest carry, 19 yards early on in this game. Smith again. Look at him just bully his way to the 40. Jeff Grimes has done a great job coming in first-year offensive coordinator with this group.
That's a great word you use, bullying. I mean, that's exactly what this offensive line needs to do.
Yeah.
And when we talk to defensive coordinator Brian Borland, you know, and how they rotate 5 defensive linemen, it's because they're going to be dealing with 600 pounds of beef on every play. That was his quote. I thought it was a great one. It's exactly that.
Baylor using this wide zone scheme. It has worked well in their run game. This time Bohannon keeps it, bounces out to the outside. Flag is down.
Great pursuit there.
Romello Dotson coming after him for Kansas. Kyron Johnson also there.
Holding, number 63. Offense, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Still second down.
That's on Grant Miller, the transfer from Vanderbilt.
A lot of times when you run the option and the quarterback gets outside, the offensive lineman who's engaged may get seen when he gets outside of him. The defender goes a different direction. He tugs on that jersey, was right in front of the official there, puts him behind the sticks.
And Grant Miller transferring in as a grad transfer, 16 starts for Vanderbilt, mostly a center for the Commodores. Over the top, just an easy catch and throw to Ben Sims.
There's a perfect example of tackling in space. It's going to be a lot of that, one-on-one opportunities to make tackles because, again, they have to load the box to try to stop this potent running game. And if they're not able to make tackles in space out there, they're going to be running all over the field wide open.
Baylor has already rushed for 62 yards. This is their second drive. 3rd and 4 coming. Treston Ebner, the running back. Bohannon's got 3 options up at the top. Ebner is the guy. Look at that hole. Look at the space for Treston Ebner to the 45 of Kansas.
The more we talk about them and how physical they are, we really have to talk about their offensive line. Watch them just absolutely move people off the ball. He plants his foot, gets north and south, picks up the first down, and then grabs a bunch of yards after the fact. I'm a quarterback. I love throwing the football, don't get me wrong, but it's fun to watch this offense and see how they turn into road graders up there, just pushing guys back.
Pass out to the flat, double pass. They were looking for it. R.J. Sneed cocked back like he was going to throw it, but pressure coming.
I like it, Courtney. We both saw it. We both see in the field the same way. I like it. Yeah, a little trickery right there. Trying to get on top of it. Kansas clearly ready for it and did a tremendous job of stopping the play for no gain.
I think we saw, didn't Louisville and UCF last night both do double passes?
Yeah, they did, and Louisville did it right back on them to win that game.
Yeah.
It was special.
Wild ending last night. 2nd and 10 out of the pistol. Bohannon option to Ebner. Gavin Potter in on the stop, forcing him out.
You know, Coach Grimes must have seen something this week in film because that's like the 3rd time they've run into the boundary. And because of college football, how wide the hash marks are, you rarely see teams running into the boundary because it's such limited space. But he has found leverage there. Both times they've done it in the option, have gotten outside and picked up big yards.
3rd down and 4 again for Baylor. Smith eaten up. A loss of 1 on the play. Again, Caleb Sampson, we've called his name a couple times.
Yeah, he's been physical up front. He rooted out that offensive line, got to the running back. Here it is, a good look. Just simply runs by him. Right by Gavin Byers and is right there, Johnny, on the spot to make the tackle again.
They're going for it, right? Yep. 2nd time they've gone for it on 4th down. They converted on their 1st drive.
Some confusion on the defensive side of the football. They have the wrong personnel in there trying to get them off the field.
Had to give him time to sub because Baylor did. Bohannon. Time to make a play. Josh Fleeks with the catch. 1st down, Baylor.
Ruling on the field is a completed pass for a 1st down.
Watch how much time he has again. He's able to survey the field, and then finds his open guy. Good job by Fleeks coming back to the football. When you're a quarterback, you want your receiver to come back towards you. That limits the opportunity for that defensive back to get over the top, knock it away, or even get in front of it for an interception. Great job in wide receiver quarterback relations right there.
Yeah, Fleek's a more experienced receiver. He is a senior, one of the upperclassmen. Baylor's got itself a 1st down. Abram Smith. And Kansas finally making an adjustment. No gain on the play. Ronald McGee in on the stop. Kansas told us, as you mentioned, they're going to rotate in about 5 guys at the 2 defensive tackle spots.
Because they're dealing with 600 pounds of beef every single play. And when I say 600, it's because they're double teamed most of the time when they're those defensive tackles. That means a couple 300-pounders just absolutely forcing their will on top of them.
And Sims, the tight end, moves over to the slot. Bohannon just comfortable. R.J. Sneed, the football comes out. Kansas has the football. Down the sideline, Romello Dotson. Kansas needed that.
It was a wonderful look and play by Gary Bohannon there. A wide open receiver on the out route, took his time, put it on the money. Defensively, this is what the Jayhawks needed. Big time play picked up by Romello Dotson. Kansas ball.
Well, Kenny Logan forced the fumble. Romello Dotson recovered it, and now Kansas is going to take the ball back, and they'll start on their own 46-yard line.
Huge play for the Kansas defense to give the ball back to their offense and see what Jason Bean can do with it.
Trevor Cardell, the tight end, moves to the other side off a play action by Bean. Throwing back to Kwame Lassiter, incomplete. And Kenny Logan, man, woo!
Yeah, the 6', 205-pound junior puts his helmet right on the football. Romello Dotson's right there and picks it up and is on his way. You just can't get pulled down by an offensive lineman if you're a safety. His teammates are going to be giving him a hard time on the sideline for that one.
How big was Lance Leipold on Kenny Logan? I mean, this is one of the guys that has really come in and connected with the coaching staff and leading that secondary.
Yeah, Jim Rat.
Oh no, high snap. Jason Bean scrambling to get the football back. Mike Nowitzki is Kansas's center, the transfer from Buffalo.
It's a little high. They just can't seem to get out of their own way sometimes when they have an opportunity. Great job by him, though, of gathering the football and then not making a bigger mistake. And that's sometimes when you're a youthful player, haven't played that much, you'll compound something and make it worse. I know it's long, 3rd and 33. Try to get some yardage and get that special teams out there to make a big punt. That's the best way you can when you have a mistake like that.
Yeah, loss of 23 on the play. Bean pulls it. Ball popped out and went out of play. Christian Morgan in on the stop. That's tough. That was a big chance for Kansas.
Yeah, there's like an anticlimactic feeling going on right now because of such a big play on defense, and you want to see the response on offense. But they're learning. They're young. They haven't had a lot of chances to develop. I will say this, Andy Kotelnicki is a head coach in the making.
I could have talked to him for an hour.
Yeah, he knows his stuff. He understands what it's going to take for this team to get better. It just may take some time.
Treston Ebner will try to return it again. Getting some help with a block. Down the far sideline, Ebner. Somebody lost a helmet as Ebner steps out of bounds. R.J. Sneed was the one whose helmet popped off.
I mean, you just can't kick it to this guy. Watch this. He just takes it all the way across the field, gets some good blocks. Here he decides, I'm just going to point some guys out. Now block him, and off to the races. Sneed gets his helmet jarred, but Ebner's still the one standing. He gets a little more space, and he's gone.
He's an All-American returner last year. 50-yard return.
I don't punt it to him then, right? I mean,
yeah, I'd say not.
That's a great punt right there, by the way. I mean, he bombed it all the way to the 10-yard line. Our friend Pat McAfee would be very happy with that.
Play is under further review.
All right, they're going to take a look at whether or not this is targeting, which is ironic because Sneed is actually the blocker on this, and the defensive player who ultimately knocks off his helmet is going to be the one that's looked at for targeting most likely here. That's what I only can imagine with the...
Right, yeah. Yeah, Michael Vandervelde. Go over the monitor here. See if we can get you another look at it. Now take a look at number 0. Or number 25.
You know what that is? That's just R.J. Sneed not being prepared for what was coming at him. And it makes it look more violent. It's a tremendous job there. He knocks him into the runner, knocks him out of bounds.
Do you think it's targeting?
I don't. He uses his crown of his helmet. Watch how he lowers it. Essentially a spearing technique. Most likely, if you're going by the rules, yeah, they're probably gonna call that a targeting penalty. Unfortunately, he will be out of the game.
For Flomo is number 25 for Kansas.
I understand the rule. I understand why it's in place. I played in the NFL for many years, and I have a lot of brothers who are dealing with, you know, head trauma issues because of what football brings to the table. So I understand why they're doing it. I don't necessarily like the punitive punishment to it, where you are immediately ejected from the game.
Yeah.
I'd like maybe for an NBA rule where you get a flagrant 1 or a flagrant 2, and when they've added up, then you are dismissed from the game.
After reviewing the play, there is no foul for targeting. It is 1st and 10, Baylor.
Okay, no targeting.
Thank you. That official must be hearing us in the play-by-play.
Yeah.
While he's
oh
watching
yeah,
the film.
he's been listening to you.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Can't piss Ryan off up there. We know what kind of temper he has.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for Baylor. Last time out, we saw a fumble and it was recovered by Kansas, but they couldn't capitalize on it. Bears going to start with great field position thanks to the punt return by Treston Ebner. A 50-yard return. Bohannon play action. Chucks one up to Drew Estrada. He is back. Missed the first 2 games with injury. That's a nice way to welcome him back on the field.
I've been incredibly impressed with the accuracy of Gary Bohannon. While he's got some pressure around him, while he's moving away, he throws back across his body and puts it right on the money to Drew Estrada.
Well, his downfield,
At the end of the first quarter.
that was one of the reasons he won the quarterback job.
Yeah, his ability to go down the football field deep and accurately got him the job.
So a 20-yard pickup for Gary Bohannon. Baylor still driving when we come back. One quarter in the books, Big 12 opener for Baylor and Kansas. Bears up by 7 and driving. Courtney Lyle, Ryan Leaf, Scooby Migueza down on the sidelines for you. Baylor has been in control. And they're in the red zone right now. Gary Bohannon, the quarterback, keeps it inside the 10 and steps out at the 9.
I don't know if you could have had a better quarter at the quarterback position than what Gary Bohannon just did in terms of managing the game, in terms of how they run the football with the option. There was an example of him using his feet to get the first down, and then he's 7 for 7 with no incompletions so far in this game.
83% of the time they've converted in the red zone. They give it off to their back, Abram Smith, 2 yards short of the touchdown.
Feels like 83% of the time it works every time.
Yeah. So far the running numbers have been pretty even between Abram Smith and Treston Ebner. They both have just over 40 yards rushing.
Well, they came into this game with 30 carries for Ebner and 31 carries for Smith. So they've been extremely balanced in how they go about it. And that's got to be really difficult for a defensive coordinator, because when either guy's in the game, you have really no chance.
This is Abram Smith, and now still high formation look for Baylor. They give it to the fullback. Touchdown, Baylor.
Why not? Why not give it to the guy that's in the backfield? One time, Gavin Yates, touchdown. 6'3", 240-pound H-back here is a perfect example. No one even ready for that. He just gets the ball, lowers his head, barrels into the end zone behind the butts of those big offensive linemen for another touchdown.
A freshman, his first touchdown of his career, and Baylor just looking to add on the PAT, Isaiah Hankins. Hankins up and in, and Baylor's got another touchdown. Dave Aranda's group, 178 total yards. Kansas -8.
Gavin Yates, the fullback, takes the Bears to a 14-0 lead.
Offensively, Baylor's gone to this wide zone. It worked pretty well the first 3 weeks so far.
Yeah, boy, has it. This is a perfect example of how they're able to move defenders across the field and give a running back like Abram Smith a ton of space to make his cut and find his way up the field. As soon as he decides, he puts his foot in the ground and goes north and south. Here's another great view of it. Watch how the big fellas up front, look how far they move, almost 6 yards to the outside. Keeping your gap integrity, incredibly difficult. He hits the hole and again is gone for a touchdown. The addition of Jeff Grimes and this type of wide zone running attack, very similar to what we saw Mike Shanahan use and what Kyle Shanahan uses in the NFL and why they're so good every single day. You're not blocking a certain person, but you're actually blocking a spot, which makes it a lot easier.
Let's go down to Scooby.
Thank you, Courtney. You know, we asked Coach Aranda earlier this week about the biggest learning curve during year 2, and he said prior to this, he was introverted. When he was at LSU, he would watch a lot of film and take a lot of notes and not talk to anybody. Now he's talking to people all day long. He said the reason he came here was to grow and learn, and every day you learn more about yourself and people are teaching you about you. Then he brought up his kids saying, you know, they're a lot like him in that respect, so he's hoping that this will be a great example for them. Back to you.
Yeah, and also learning, Scooby, from Jeff Grimes, who's new to his staff, and Eric Mateos, the new offensive line coach. Now it's Kansas's turn. They're still looking for their first down. Devin Neal on the carry, the local product out of Lawrence.
You know, going back to Dave Aranda there and what he's been able to bring to this program. Imagine coming into the situation and taking a new head coaching job when all of when the chaos ensued, right? With COVID.
Yeah.
Learning and about that on the job, how to go about it. It's been extremely difficult. This is the team that he has put together, and that's why we talked about in the open about how they're becoming more like him in their image.
And obviously he's a defensive guy, really proud of the progress they have made here, but they let Jason Bean go. Slips a couple of tackles. Finally, somebody catches up to him, JT Woods.
Dude's a burner. That's the best way to put it. As soon as he sees this hole, watch this. Great play fake, right? Defensive end bites. He puts his foot in the ground and goes. And he's faster than everybody out there. And that's saying something coming from a quarterback going against this speedy defense.
Jason Bean, the transfer from North Texas, a 25-yard pickup into Baylor territory. First down for Kansas. It's an empty backfield. A quick connection out. The receiver is Luke Grimm.
Now we know how extremely talented he is when he runs the football. What he's got to improve on is throwing the ball. And what coaches have asked him to do in the last few weeks where he's been most accurate is if you watch, he gets rid of the ball immediately. It's like he catches it, takes the one step, sees what he sees, and lets it rip. When he's got to hold it back there and go through his reads a little bit more, that's where he's got to find a way to improve.
Threw for over 1,100 yards last year with North Texas. on the move. How much, too, does it hurt that he's only had 17 practices as the starter just to get on the same page and get those extra reps with the receivers?
It's about reps. It always has been. It always will be. The more you see something, the more you experience it. In fact, offensive coordinator Andy Kotelnicki told us that. He said this generation, for their true experience, they have to deal with failure. They have to deal with success 100% of the time for them to fully understand it. They just can't see it by watching film. They have to experience it.
Third down for Kansas at the Baylor 41. Devin Neal, flag down in the backfield.
Again, just shooting themselves in the foot there. They were going to set up probably a fourth and 1 opportunity to go for it.
Holding, number 68. Offense, 10-yard penalty. Still third down.
It's a left tackle, Earl Bostic Jr.
Not even in the play, really, where that hold takes place. So that's got even more frustrating. Now, Andy Kotelnicki talked to us about what the best thing they can do, and that's not putting themselves in third and predictable situations. And because it's 3rd and 14 right now, this is about as predictable as you get on what they're going to have to do.
So they'll go out of the pistol with Devin Neal. Shift him over to the left of Bean. Bean is flushed. Bean's in trouble. Has to get rid of the football because Raleigh Tejada was on his heels.
Corner cat. That's what we call. He comes from the boundary. No one's there to pick him up. Bean sees him finally out of the corner of his eye, is able to get outside the pocket and throw it away so they don't take a bigger loss. But, you know, once again, this offense stalls out. They can't continue to just give the ball back to Baylor. This defense for the Jayhawks is going to be out there the whole game if they don't figure out a way to put a sustainable drive together.
So another punt by Kansas. Oh, and they can't get there in time to down it at the 1.
Tell you what, the highlight of this team, though, offensively, has been their punting game.
Reese Vernon.
Yeah, he's been pretty special.
Baylor coming back on offense when you come back to Lawrence. Well, instantly when you turn on the film to watch Baylor, you would see an improved offensive line and run game. Last week against Texas Southern, 3 guys rushed for over 100 yards. First time Baylor's had that happen since 2015.
Yeah, I witnessed it in person. As good as Treston Ebner and Abram Smith were, Tay McWilliams comes in mop-up time, and they don't miss a beat. Jeff Grimes has built this team to do exactly what they need to, regardless of who's in there, what guys are up front and what guys are carrying the football.
So Treston Ebner is in there now. Jeff Grimes, of course, coming over in his first season at Baylor, spent 3 years at BYU. They were 7th in total offense last season. Ebner met by a host of Kansas Jayhawks. No pickup on the play. Taiwan Berryhill there. But the offensive line, I mean, they've talked numerous times. We know what the discussion was last season about us, that we weren't that good.
Yeah.
And that was true. They were only averaging about 90 rushing yards a game. They already have over 100 in the first half.
Offensive line in a new system is about cohesiveness. It's about reps. And when you have a new coach come in a truncated season because of COVID, it takes some time. And they're firing on all cylinders right now.
They'll try Ebner again. Bounces off a defender, falls forward right at the down marker. And they move the chains.
You know, Treston Ebner reminds me a lot of a former teammate of mine by the name of Warwick Dunn. His ability to always fall forward. Watch this here. Even when he gets contacted in both spots, he continues to make his way forward, and sure enough, he falls forward for even more yards. He's a little bit bigger than Warwick was, but it was so fun to watch him after I handed the ball off to him. He would just never get tackled for loss. He would always get positive yards.
Treston Ebner, the first at Baylor with 1,000 rushing and 1,000 receiving yards. Bohannon rolling out. Little bootleg connection to Tyquan Thornton. First catch of for him today.
Whether on the run or sitting in the pocket or sliding around inside the pocket, he has been extremely accurate the entire game. Gary Bohannon, that is. It's fun to see, and it's got to be very calming for this coaching staff to know that, hey, this guy that we decided to go with as our leader, as our guy back there pulling the trigger, he's special.
It's fun to see unless you're Kansas defense.
Big 12 may not like it.
Another connection, Tyquan Thornton, that's 2 passes in a row to him, and another first down. And it's interesting too, Gary Bohannon, that Texas State game to open the season, the connection wasn't there, and he went to work on it. Definitely improved against Texas Southern and today.
And it was just because he wouldn't trust it. And coaches talked to us about that. We knew what he could do. He wasn't willing to fully trust himself yet. And then after that game, the coaches just said, hey, we believe in you. We know what you're doing. Let it rip.
They give it to Ebner. Kansas's defense knew it. Malcolm Lee in there first, loss of 2.
It's going to be an all-day sucker for this defensive front. They knew it coming in. Coaches said they were ready for it. They're making some big plays here. It's just an act of attrition by this offense and how they keep going and going and going.
Abram Smith back in. 2nd and 12 from the Kansas 49. Option again. We've seen this a few times. Smith steps out at the 43.
It's something, of course, Jeff Grimes has seen from the sideline. That option play has been motioned in or signed in by the sideline every time they have run it.
Well, Coastal had a lot of success running it against Kansas last week.
I think that if you're committed to running the football, it's going to be difficult for a Kansas defense just because of the lack of depth to really put up a fight the entire game.
3rd and 6. Bohannon looking to toss it. And batted away by Jeremy Webb. Tyquan Thornton was the intended target. He had already caught 2 passes on this drive.
This may be the first time we've seen him be inaccurate. See where he put the ball there on the inside hip. If he puts it to the outside, probably a completion, but Jeremy Webb is right there on top of him to knock it away.
Ryan, don't freak out, but Baylor is punting. Is this the first time you've seen them punt in a couple weeks?
Yeah, and I'm a little, maybe it's just outside 5 yards, because I think if they're around 4th and 5, they've been going for it. So it surprises me a little bit. Maybe they're going to run a fake here.
Isaac Powers, the punter, flag on the near side. Kansas lets it roll, gets a great roll, picked up at the 4-yard line, but we'll see what the penalty marker is.
Hey, good play, 47. Good play.
If you're a returner there, you got to go up and catch the football there. You can't allow it to hit the ground. You have an opportunity to give up. And when an offense that's struggling.
Illegal formation, kicking team. That penalty will be enforced 5 yards and will replay 4th down.
Well, now he'll get his chance. That is Kwame Lassiter Jr. back there, returning the punt. Fun story, I played in the NFL against his dad with the Arizona Cardinals. I believe he probably intercepted me one time too, I think so. I mean, there were plenty of players that intercepted me, but he was one of them. Unfortunately, Kwame passed away about 2 years ago. And what a gracious and loving father. Kwame's playing with his namesake. It's great.
Yeah, his son, the leading receiver for Kansas this year so far, and calls for the fair catch again. Just inside the 20.
Great job. Almost a 20-yard difference there. To see if Kansas can put something together. Down 14-0 midway through the 2nd quarter.
First Big 12 game for Lance Leipold and his staff in his first season At Kansas, after 6 seasons at Buffalo, they ended there with 3 straight winning seasons for the first time in 20 years, made 3 bowl appearances, and he brought a lot of his staff with him. We talked to the offensive coordinator yesterday, Andy Kotelnicki, and I asked him, what is it about Leipold? He said he's just a real guy. He's himself 24/7, and people buy into that.
He makes it the best job that there is for coaches, so they don't want to leave.
Being in trouble. It was TJ Franklin forcing him out of the pocket.
Defensively, this Baylor Bears team, coached by Ron Roberts, but mainly with Dave Aranda, play with a lot of speed, a lot of physicality, but like we said earlier, see what they see, trust it, and go make tackles.
Devin Neal and Amari Pezic-Hickson are the 2 backs here for Jason Bean. 2nd and 10. This is Neal. No gain on the play.
Speaking with Lance Leipold, you know, I asked him the question, why Kansas? Why take the job, right? This football program has had many down years, and he talked to us about the community, where he could have his family, raise his kids, but also do something no one has been able to do in a long while. And he wanted to accept that challenge, and that's why him and his staff are here, and they're looking forward to trying to turn this thing around.
3rd and 10. Bean again under pressure. Terrell Bernard chasing him. Oh, is that pass caught? Luke Grimm on his knees, but still down on the turf.
Again, Jason Bean is pressured, pushed outside the pocket by the corner blitz. What a great throw on the run to put it accurately in place.
And Luke Grimm still down on the turf. He had such a good game. Lance Leipold was very complimentary of Grimm last week at Coastal. They'll take a look at him, and we'll step aside here. Kansas driving.
Welcome back to Kansas, late 2nd quarter. Just to follow up on what you guys were saying about Coach Leipold, you know, his relationship with the players goes deep as well, especially Trevor Wilson. Wilson's father passed away last year around this time, and Coach Leipold also lost his father around this time last February. And Coach Leipold said Wilson texted him and said, "Coach, sorry to hear about your dad. I want to let you know I'm here for you like you were here for me." And they have a great relationship that goes way beyond football, and it goes to show how much coaches appreciate it on this team and how much the players appreciate him as well.
Yes, Scooby. Trevor Wilson came over with Coach Leipold from Buffalo. A lot of growth during his career, as we saw a 5-yard run from Jason Bean.
I think that, you know, and I made the point when we were talking to Coach the other day that the impact he has on players is the reason why his players behave and act the way they do with him. Speaking of
reverse, Trevor Wilson, there he goes. 1st down, Kansas. Down the sideline, Trevor Wilson stepped out. Still, how about that?
Right on point. Feed me, Trevor Wilson says. Sure enough, here they run it. They've been running one way all game long. They decide to use that pursuit against the Baylor Bears and run a reverse to Trevor Wilson. Just steps out of bounds. Great play call, great play design by offensive coordinator Andy Kotelnicki, getting them into Baylor territory.
It's their 3rd first down, a 14-yard pickup by Trevor Wilson. Devin Neal back to the line of scrimmage. Christian Morgan got his heels.
You know, we go back to the Lance Leipold discussion and why you take the job at Kansas, and the understanding of that it's going to take time. And how do you keep guys motivated when the depth isn't there, when you have to do those things? And I think they just hired the right guy. I spoke to Mac Rhodes, the athletic director before the game of the Baylor Bears. He made that point exactly. They hired the right guy. A lot of people feel that way.
2nd and 10. Bean rolling left, looking right. Receiver tripped up. There's the pass interference flag. Stephen McBride was the intended target in the end zone. Christian Morgan with the PI.
Good play call. They just kind of get their feet tangled up. That's not necessarily.
Pass interference, number 4. Defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
Hey, do you think he trips him up or just tripped?
They just tripped each other, and sometimes in real time like that, the official, hands were kind of flailing. They may have felt he tugged or pulled a little bit, but it really looked like their feet got tangled up. I would have been okay with the no call there. I thought it was a great play call, though, by Kansas to run a wonderful play boot and set him up behind the tackle, move his spot of where he was going to throw it. And he put it in a place where his receiver could catch it, and they got a big penalty.
Yeah, we talk a lot about Jason Bean on the run, but he can certainly chuck the ball down the field. Neal steps back inside to the 20.
Tackle made by number 54, Brayton Utley.
Devin Neal, the freshman here from Lawrence, Kansas.
2nd and 6 at the 19.
Picks up a few. I'll take that if I'm the Kansas Jayhawks. If I can get 4 yards a pop running the football against this Baylor defense, I'll take that all day long. Put them into positions where they get 2nd and short, 2nd and medium to 3rd and short out of those predictable plays that we talked about.
2nd and 6, Bean inside the 20. Bean goes down on the sideline. That's why you hear the boos from the Kansas fans, but I don't see any flags.
Well, not to make the obvious, but he's only 189 pounds. I don't think there's much there. He doesn't need to put his hands on him.
Baylor has taken their first charge timeout of the first half, 30 seconds in length.
Yeah, that was Christian Morgan.
He definitely could have got called for it, and Lance Leipold is letting the official know. He's going to go show him, in fact, exactly how far out of bounds he was when he got pushed.
Well, they're not going to change this call. Baylor has called timeout.
I'd love the ability to review these calls sometimes.
Oh, gosh, but we'd be here forever.
I know, but I like spending time with you.
Well, I like it too.
Yeah, so that would be fun.
That was a good
me.
save. That was a good save.
Yeah.
Hey, we were talking about Devin Neal and Lance Leipold taking over this program. Devin Neal never wavered from his commitment to Kansas. He comes in as a freshman. He is a Lawrence native. He tweeted out how it started, how it's going, and that photo, he said he was about 8 or 9 years old. He had just finished bowling, actually, and went out and saw that Jayhawk and was like, yeah, I got to take a picture with this. So, pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. I have one of those. I have a picture when I'm about.
Picture with the Jayhawk?
No, picture in Dan Fouts' uniform when I was a kid.
Oh, that's cool.
So they didn't have Twitter back then. I'm too old.
Bean steps up on 3rd down. Got the first down and then some. Flag, midfield. Jason Bean stepped out at the 7.
That flag came from all the way back at the back, Judge. Clearly seen holding there on the offensive line. It probably had no effect on the actual play.
Holding, number 11. Offense, 10-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
And this is an offensive line. They were trying to identify guys in camp, identify their positions, and then getting them to grow together. It's been a struggle. They got up 6 sacks last week.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a work in progress. Lance Leipold has got to be livid now after not getting the call the play before, and then a hold way away from the play that puts them in a very difficult 3rd and medium situation.
Jason Bean has Devin Neal behind him. Over the middle. It's Lassiter. To the 5, move the chains.
Wonderful play call here by offensive coordinator Andy Kotelnicki. A little high-low. Put the pressure on that linebacker, make him make a decision, and then Jason Bean puts it perfectly to the wide receiver Kwame Lassiter Jr. right in front of the safety to set up a 1st and goal at the 5.
Well, Kotelnicki told us, the OC, Kwame Lassiter, reliable and dependable. You can line him up anywhere, he's going to catch the football.
Got a lot of room down here, maybe take a shot at the slant.
1st and goal. They fake it to Neal. Trevor Wilson, boom! All right, Ryan Leaf, we see you.
Well, I just see all that green, right? I see all that green out there, and that's exactly what Jason Bean saw. They ran a little play fake, which held the safety inside. And then a great throw and even a better catch. Watch this. Puts it right on the money. Look where he puts it, down low, so if there is a defender coming out to meet him, he doesn't take a big shot. Trevor Wilson with the catch. What a great drive by this Kansas Jayhawks. Rock chop, yeah.
Trevor Wilson with his first touchdown as a Jayhawk puts Kansas on the board in this game. Jacob Borchilla for the PAT, and it's good. Just a 7-point game.
Wonderful drive. Trevor Wilson. Like I said, there was just a ton of room down there. They run the play fake, hold the safety inside, and then he puts it right on the money, away from Kalen Barnes and in front of JT Woods, so he doesn't get to make a tackle. That's just as good a throw you can make right there. I'm glad he saw it. There was just a lot of green out there, and it's it's something I would have done. I would have probably taken a touchdown away from my running back in college by checking to a pass there. Always like doing that, that's for sure. I apologize to you, Michael Black, if you're listening. I took a lot of touchdowns away from you in '97.
Well, one of the best drives, the best drive Kansas has had, 11 plays, 76 yards over 5 minutes and 23 seconds. And you look at Jason Bean making that throw. Remember, this is a guy that transferred in. He committed to an interim head coach in Emmett Jones, who got him to stay when Lance Leipold took the position.
It takes a commitment. It takes a loyalty to something you want to be better at, the person you want to be in the day and age where the transfer portal exists and guys leaving and going whatever they want to do when the grass isn't necessarily always greener. You got to commend him and the rest of the guys that stayed and are trying to, because this game, for the most part, Courtney, you and I have been talking about, Baylor is dominated.
Yeah.
And yet, Kansas stayed with it, stayed in it, kept it close, and sure enough, gets a big drive there right before the half. They're going to get the ball to start the second half, too, if they can get a stop quickly here, which could be huge.
Jason Bean, you see his numbers, 5 of 7, 52 yards, and a touchdown. Look, he had a game last year at North Texas against MTSU. 2 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns, and he rushed for 150 rushing yards, one of 4 quarterbacks ever to do that. Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts were 2 of the other ones.
Yeah, those are some decent names. They're playing on Sundays, I think.
I think so. I think Lamar Jackson's facing Patrick Mahomes. So we haven't talked about that, right? All right, it'll be Baylor's turn to answer with 1:02 left in the half. More exciting Big 12 college football action coming your way later tonight. Texas Tech hosting Florida International at 7. And then next Saturday in primetime, Ryan, you'll be on the call for this one, right? A Big 12 showdown, Kansas State and Oklahoma State. That game will be at 7 Eastern next week. For more information about these games as well as other sports across the Big 12, you can sign up now. ESPNplus.com/Big12 now. K-State without their quarterback Skylar Thompson this week against Nevada.
They're in a battle right now with Nevada, and Oklahoma State goes all the way out to Boise, Idaho to take on the Broncos tonight. So there's a chance that both of those teams can be undefeated next Saturday night in Stillwater. It'll be a fun night.
Pass out to Ben Sims, and he steps out of bounds. Baylor does have 2 timeouts left.
Anytime you're in a 2-minute situation like that, it's always good to get a completion on the first snap. Whether it's 3 or 4 yards, steps out of bounds, stops the clock.
Bohannon looking midfield, throws it behind Sims. Kenny Logan is there in coverage.
He's been physical, and Brian Borland, the defensive coordinator, talked about this. We preach it, we live it, be physical, and Kenny Logan's been the epitome of that today. The big hit for the fumble, right there, dislodges the ball. It wasn't the greatest of passes, but still, he was the big part of why that ball hit the ground.
Yeah, he's definitely one that's not afraid of the physicality. Third down here. From Baylor's own 29. Bohannon, a deep shot to Ebner. It was close. I mean, it was on target.
Wonderful pass, but there was some pressure that made him move a little further to his right, and then great defense in coverage. Watch this. He gets pressured from the outside, pushes him over a little bit. Incredibly accurate throw when he was off balance a little bit. Defensively, right there. You know, sometimes it's pretty difficult for a running back to be down the field that far trying to make a catch. No matter how many yards he's had in his career.
It was Caleb Taylor with the quarterback pressure, then O.J. Burrows deep down the field. This rolls to the 20. Kansas is going to have 30 seconds left in the half.
All right, you get the ball to start the second half. You don't want to make a big mistake here and give up any kind of points, but if I'm Lance Leipold, maybe I look to take a shot here. You got 3 timeouts left. Or you just take a knee and say, hey, you know, let's go. We're within 7. We get the ball to start the second half. I have the quarterback mentality, and I want to go. But sometimes, you know, you need somebody to take care of you.
That's why you have a head coach.
Yeah, that's why you got a coach that gets that stuff done.
We'll see what they do. Jason Bean and Felton Gardner back there. Bean moving. Pass complete to Mason Fairchild. Pickup of 2.
Well, the play call there was for them to maybe kind of take a chance and see if they get things going, but a little surprised they're not taking a timeout then. They're just going to let this clock run out. Feel pretty good about how the first half was going into halftime, only down 7 to this very, very potent Baylor Bears team.
Yeah, it really felt like Baylor dominated the first half, but to only trail by 7 points for Kansas, that is big time. Halftime here in Lawrence. Baylor up on top of Kansas in their Big 12 opener, 14-7. I think we saw Kansas get a little bit better in the second quarter.
They definitely did. They stayed with it. They didn't get down after really run over the first couple series by Baylor, and then to really put a drive together against this defense for Baylor was huge. Has to build a ton of confidence for this offense, especially the offensive line and what they're going to need to do in the second half. What
have you thought of Jason Bean so far?
Well, he's poised, right? And as Coach told us, things are starting to slow down for him. And I think that's really apparent on screen.
Well, Baylor head coach Dave Aranda is with Scooby.
Coach, you guys had a great start for this game, and you punted for one of the first times this season, and then things started to slow down. What do you like? What do you want to see improve?
We have to improve penalties. I think penalties have affected this game. Took a score off from us, and then I think it's also prevented us from getting field position at times.
What do you think of some of the adjustments that you're going to make going in halftime, especially with the momentum going on the Kansas side?
I think we have to be able to secure the ball on offense. We can get back to running wide zone and moving the sticks and taking time off the clock. I think we also have to hit on our deep throws. Then defensively, we're going to have to adjust to their 3-back set.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Dave Aranda mentioned it, 4 penalties for 40 yards in the first half for Baylor, but they lead by a touchdown here at halftime. The Big 12 opener for Baylor and Kansas. Just a one-score game at halftime here in Lawrence. Well, Kansas built some momentum towards the end of that second quarter, and they will get the ball to start the second half. Kenny Logan and Kwame Lassiter back to receive the kickoff. Big 12 opener for both of these teams here in Lawrence. And so Kansas will start things on their own 25-yard line. They settled in a little bit more towards the end of that second quarter, put together a really nice scoring drive.
I think they overcame is what happened. You know, they really got bombarded early by this Baylor offense and what they were doing, and the defense stayed in there, started making some plays up front, got the ball back, stopped them on third down, sure enough, and finally, right before the half, they get a shot at making this game a lot closer, and they took advantage of it. They really, really did. And you got to be pleased if you're the head coach, Lance Leipold, with his team and the perseverance they've had through everything, especially this first half of this game. And like I said, when they scored right before half, if they could get a stop, they had a chance with the ball to come out in the second half and try to tie this thing up.
Jason Bean off play action here for Kansas. Up to the top to the big guy who goes up and gets it. Mason Fairchild, the tight end. Pick up of 3.
That's confidence in the by a quarterback there to throw it to Mason Fairchild, because if he is not accurate with it, there's a defender in front of Mason and in back of Mason, but he's perfect with his accuracy there. Picks up a couple yards on first down. No negative plays. If they can live by that mantra this second half, they're going to stay in this football game.
Jason Bean in the first half, 6 of 8 for 55 yards and a touchdown through the air. His longest pass was 19 yards. Pulls it from the running back. Steps out at the 30, third down.
If I'm the wide receiver coach over at Kansas, I'm on my guys right now, because Jason Bean is starting to get the edge. And when he gets the edge, he's in the open field. But the guys that are making the play are the corners. They're getting off the blocks by these wide receivers. If they're able to get a body on a body there, that could really open a hole for a big run here from number 17.
We have seen Bean throw it. We have seen him run it. He can do everything. They call it unplanned explosive plays. He gives them that threat. Third down. Oh, not there. Hello. Matt Jones. Ouch.
That's a good adjective there, Courtney. Great form tackle there by the 6'3", 235-pound senior or sophomore out of Odessa. Watch this. It's just a run pass option. Boom! Matt Jones right to the chest bone.
I think he had a stretch last week against Texas Southern. He impacted 4 straight drives with big plays like that. And now Kansas has to punt. Ebner will let it roll. Takes a sideways bounce to the 31-yard line.
Not bad. I mean, you kept it out of his hands. And that's exactly what I'm assuming their special teams coordinator is telling their punter. Do not kick it to Ebner again.
Yeah, an All-American returner.
Disappointing coming out at halftime, not being able to put a drive together, going 3 and out, but the defense is much improved since what they were in the first half, beginning of the first half. Let's see if they can build that front once again and make some stops.
Gary Bohannon completed his first 9 passes in this game. He's 10 for 13, 102 yards through the air. Off play action to R.J. Sneed with the first down across the 50. Back inside, up the sideline, R.J. Sneed. Go Baylor, go! Sneed in for 6.
If you're Lance Leipold, the second half couldn't have started any worse. They load the box there. They run a simple play action out. Watch this. He rises up and throws to the out. There's no one out there. If he beats his defender like he does, he's off to the races. Great blocking downfield by Estrada, and then ultimately there with Thornton to get him in the end zone. Big, explosive plays are exactly what Kansas cannot allow, or this game will get out of hand in the second half.
A 69-yard touchdown, the first one of the season for R.J. Sneed. What a way to do it.
Incredible fake, and then incredible blocking down the field. The Baylor Bears start the second half with a stop and then a score. They lead 21-7. Welcome back to Lawrence, Kansas. Here, watch the fine footwork here by R.J. Sneed, staying in bounds, and the block from Drew Estrada that sent him to the house.
69 yards on this play, and that feels extra special because R.J. Sneed caught a pass and then fumbled it and turned the ball over earlier in the first half.
Yeah, short memory. Be a goldfish, as Ted Lasso would say.
It's not a game unless there's a Ted Lasso reference, is it not?
I don't think so. Believe, Courtney. That's
Always.
what Kansas needs to do right now, is believe.
Let's go down to Scooby.
Thank you, Courtney. I talked with Coach Leopold before the start of the second half, and he told me that first drive was going to be big, but it would not be make or break. He's been impressed with the way that his team has fought and responded to adversity the whole game. And honestly, he said he's been impressed with this team all year, and they're not going to worry about the scoreboard. And about kicking Ebner, he told me that for the rest of the game, they'll be avoiding kicking the number one. Back to you.
Yeah, I think so too, and they've got some more adversity to deal with, Scooby, since you talked to him because of that 69-yard touchdown they just gave up.
Yeah, they were going in the right direction with everything, but they just take a step forward, kind of 2 steps back right now. Jason Bean, see how he does and how he fares here in the third quarter.
Rolling out to his right and throws it away.
As a quarterback, it's difficult when they really only run a 2-receiver pattern. You know, when you have to put a bunch of guys in to block all the defensive pressure that's coming, but then when you only have 1 receiver really in the route because you booted out that way or you rolled out that way, it puts the quarterback in a difficult position, because if the wide receiver doesn't win, you're kind of screwed. You have to either throw it away like he did there or eat it.
And that wide receiver's going up against a pretty good Baylor defense.
Yeah.
2nd and 10. Off play action, pass incomplete to Mason Fairchild. I think the Baylor defense got a hand on it.
It was either that or his own teammate's helmet.
Yeah, the ball took a weird angle.
Yeah. When you're in the run pass option, right, the offensive linemen are showing run, showing pass. So he gets down the field just a little bit too far there. Great job by the Baylor Bear getting his mid up there. When you can't get to the quarterback, get your hand up.
Yeah, it was TJ Franklin. 3rd and 10.
Predictable 3rd down.
Looking to the near side. Trevor Wilson was the target.
Andy Kotelnicki talked to us about the predictability of 3rd downs, what you do to diminish that, right? And that's to be better on 1st and 2nd down. And they got nothing there. And sure enough, Baylor was able to pin their ears back and come after the quarterback, and Bean had to get rid of it. Passing yards, as we see, 171 already to only 58 for the Kansas Jayhawks.
So another punt for Kansas. Ebner did grab it, but was immediately taken down at the 40. We'll step aside. Baylor on offense coming up from Lawrence.
Couple of running backs that I like in these 2 great Baylor running backs, too, some players I knew pretty well. Playing for the Dallas Cowboys, we went up against Tiki Barber and Brandon Jacobs a ton. Little thunder and lightning aspect there. And as well, down south when I was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, these 2 guys were right behind me when I handed the ball off. Warwick Dunn and Mike Allstott, a couple guys that can get you yardage physically as well as with finesse. Treston Ebner here with 7 carries and 48 yards. Smith with 9 and 59. Hey, it's a different story when you're going up against a Power 5 opponent, right? You go up against Texas State, Texas Southern, a little difference in terms of depth. Kansas to limit both these guys to under 100 yards today would be a big coup.
Yeah, they have had over 118 yards in each of their first 2 games. And early on, they came out running the football very strong. That's Abram Smith gets the carry this time. Gain of 1 on the play.
Part of that is keeping those guys fresh up front. That's what Brian Borland, their defensive coordinator, told us. You know, continuing to say we're gonna rotate those 5 guys, and I think that freshness on this very hot day has started to pay dividends for this defensive front.
2nd and 9 for Gary Bohannon and Baylor. Ben Sims, a couple yards short of the first down.
Great tackle by Romello Dotson there. They keep him short of the sticks to set up a 3rd down, because Bohannon does exactly what he's supposed to do there. He boots out and you throw it to the wide open Sims in the flat. Just a wonderful tackle in space to set up 3rd down. If they get off the field, it's just a matter of continuing to get off the field on defense, because you keep giving this offense more and more chances. They're going to score points if they do.
3rd and 2. Baylor is 1 for 5 on 3rd down today. Abram Smith gets the first down, past the 45 to the 40-yard line, where he's taken out of bounds.
This is just wonderful vision. Watch him just keep going, keep going. The offensive line keeps blocking down, and he gets to the outside and picks up the first down. Abram Smith, wonderful job, like I said, just steps to the outside. His speed beats their speed to the perimeter.
Look at him carrying Jason Gilliam just a couple yards more, hanging on for dear life. Smith again. It's impressive, Abram Smith's versatility too. He was a linebacker last year, recruited as a running back, but they needed some help there, and then transitioned back to the running back position this year.
Yeah, it's difficult, but you know, linebackers are asked to run. Just simply you run and you run and you run, and that fits in perfect with what they're asking him to do at the running back position.
Bohannon to the air. Oh, the receiver had to come back and get it. What a play by Josh Fleeks.
And in doing so, it not being a very accurate pass, it actually led him back in. Watch this as he attempts to run the little out route. DB slips, but the ball's thrown behind him, and therefore the DB overruns it, and it actually helped him up the field.
Yeah, pick up a 21 yards. Pass out to the flat to Thornton. Carrying 2 defenders to the 9.
Pass complete to number 9, type 1, Carter.
They like to show a little up-tempo when they get going, when they get moving on the drive. Here's an example.
Smith pounding his way to the 4.
Number 7, Abram Smith.
It's like Dave Aranda had a little talk with everybody at half and said, hey, you know, this is not going to be a repeat of what Texas State looked like, where we dominated the football game, but it didn't show on the scoreboard.
1st and goal for the Bears. Smith straight into the end zone. Touchdown, Baylor.
Hoping we get a little smile out of Dave Aranda after a big score there.
Good luck.
Good luck. Tremendous job by this Baylor Bears team, period, on the offensive and defensive side of the football to start the second half. Very stoic. Very stoic, Coach Aranda.
Yeah, he told us, one of his assistants, there's nothing like a win or a big play with Dave Aranda. Just consistent. PAT is up and good, and Baylor running down the field. Another touchdown for the Bears.
Abram Smith with another touchdown here to start the second half. Up 28-7.
Welcome back to Big 12 Now on ESPN+. Well, Baylor has already matched its point total from the first half in the 3rd quarter, and we're about 6 minutes in. 28-7 is the score in their Big 12 opener here in Lawrence, Kansas. Courtney Lyle, Ryan Leaf, and Scooby Mageza with you down on the sidelines.
Rock chalk. If they're not careful, there's going to be some rock chalk outlines on the field. Baylor's absolutely
Whoa,
dropping
whoa.
them. There are the first 2 drives.
There's a lot of time left. Out of the end zone it goes. Let's go down to the field at Scooby.
Demeanor and how cool, calm, and chill he is. And the team has kind of adopted that personality. They're very calm and businesslike with the way they go about things. And he even joked around and said, you know, maybe after a big win, I should drink a Mountain Dew or something before going into the halftime, because he needs to get his guys all riled up. So he's aware how cool, calm, and chill he is, and he's trying to find ways to get a little more pumped up after a big win.
There's something about being measured, right? As a mentor, as a leader, you know, leadership represents attitude, right? And that's exactly what he tends to do. And he wants his players to understand, and I think they do, that he's in it with them.
Devin Neal on the carry. Like, you don't see a ton of emotion, but watch this. This was during the break. Dave Aranda in there talking to his team.
That did it. That did it. Just a little physical contact, get the special teams ready to go, run down that field, make a big play, make a big tackle. What they've done to start the second half was exactly that representation right there. They've absolutely dominated 2 offensive series as well as a defensive series to start this half.
A 69-yard touchdown by R.J. Sneed on their first drive of the 3rd quarter. There's a good run and a first down from Devin Neal.
Little delay back there. He held onto the ball for just a split second, a la Le'Veon Bell there in his time in Pittsburgh. Saw the hole open and then burst through it to pick up the first down.
He had a great game last week against Coastal Carolina. 11 carries to lead Kansas, 40 yards and a touchdown. Got a lot of positive messages from family members after that game. At one point, they gave him the ball 5 straight times.
It's always tough to get non-positive messages after the game. So
yes.
Yeah, happy for that.
To the 40 goes Neal. Neal's the #1 recruit in the state of Kansas, staying home here in Lawrence to go to Kansas.
Yeah, that's something, right? I mean, it's got to be extremely special because you spent your whole life here, and then, like, one of the coolest experiences of my life was to go somewhere else and experience college, right? To love it so much and know this is where you want to be and to stay at home. I think that's pretty special. Also, probably the great home cooking you can always go home to anytime you need to.
Well, to stay 2 through a coaching change, even more impressive. 2nd down. Play action. Here comes Bean rolling out. Dumps it quickly to Lassiter.
Wide receivers completely blanketed there. The only place that Bean could go was to Lassiter in the flat. Picked up a couple. They still put them in a difficult 3rd down position. Again, 3rd long. They're most likely going to be in a strict passing situation here. As you see, Baylor's able to substitute their defensive front. They're going to pin their ears back, come after the quarterback, make it really difficult for Bean in this offense.
He's got 3rd and 8. Looking for Devin Neal coming out of the backfield off his hands.
That pass needed to be a bit of a changeup. He kind of let go of a fastball there, and Devin Neal wasn't able to turn his body around. Pretty good play call. Man coverage would have given him a shot to run for the first down, but once again, not a 3-and-out, but close enough. And they're going to give it back to the Baylor Bears. That's an offense that's extremely hot right now.
Treston Ebner, of course, is back there to return this. And let it go. So here comes Baylor again, and they've, whatever the message was at halftime, they've locked into it.
I think it was, hey, let's get back to our identity. We run the football. We're physical. We're going to knock you off the line of scrimmage, and we're going to pound it down your throat. And then we're going to sprinkle in some play action and take some shots down the field. Let our receivers, who are extremely talented on the perimeter, go one-on-one and win.
Right, in the second half, and we're only in the 3rd quarter. 9 plays, 129 yards, 2 touchdowns for Baylor.
Pretty good.
Not bad. Gary Bohannon. to the 32 and the first down.
I have been incredibly impressed with the way that Kansas continues to fly around, though. I mean, that's a sure sign that they are bought into what Coach Lance Leipold is teaching them, and the effort's there.
First and 10 for Baylor. Play action, Bohannon. Connection to R.J. Sneed. He already has a big touchdown here in the third quarter. And another first down for the Bears.
It's got to be incredibly difficult for these linebackers and safeties to trust their eyes because the play action is so good. Deception is a huge key for quarterbacks. When I was coaching, I would always talk to them about how you can deceive the defense with your sleight of hand, the ball fakes, and that allows for wide receivers to come wide open. And right there was a perfect example, that easy throw and catch by Bohannon to Sneed.
And you got to have so much respect for the run game because of what they've already done. The handoff goes to Monterey Baldwin. You know, going back to Kansas's defense, Brian Borland has talked this week, and he talked to us about working on the physical mentality. It's not just going out there and doing it. You've got to think that every single play. And to your point, yeah, Kansas is still flying around and giving effort on defense.
It is, and you got to be safe, right? Because you got to understand, because of the depth issue on this Kansas team, you have to stay healthy, but still try to be physical. And that's a very difficult thing to balance.
Second down, Ebner.
The more tired that the defensive player gets, or you'll see them not wrapping up as well. And that's what makes a difference when you got running backs like Ebner and Smith who can take contact, stay on their feet, extend plays. Kansas has got to remember to wrap up when they're out there trying to make their tackles.
3rd and 4 for Baylor. And it's a first down. Treston Ebner again.
Left tackle Connor Galvin there really secured the edge, allowed Treston Ebner to get outside.
And he was a preseason All Big 12 selection. Connor Galvin made big strides in the weight room in this offseason, one of their captains. Pitch it out to Ebner. Trying to make a guy miss, fumbles the football. Kansas recovers. O.J. Burroughs was in there. Kenny Logan Jr. comes out with the ball. No surprise to see him around the football.
We just mentioned how this team continues to fly around.
Fully on the field is the fumble, recovered by the defense, first down.
Watch this. This is what we're talking about. Watch him flying around, and is right there to make the O.J. Burroughs, gets his head in there, and then Kenny Logan Jr., Johnny on the spot to pick up the fumble. Ball security, right? There's a couple examples so far in this game where Baylor's turned it over, and the last time it happened, it offered an opportunity for this Kansas Jayhawks team to try to sneak back in this game. Got to commend this defense for being punished and being out physical all game long, continue to battle and make big plays.
You know, Kenny Logan exploding out of there with the football. I mean, he is one of the leaders. He's one of those energy players as Jason Bean runs it to the 35-yard line. Yeah, the last time that Kansas recovered a turnover by Baylor, they went 3 and out.
Yeah, it can't happen here. They get a few yards on first down. Again, Jason Bean, it's about his feet. He is the true north of this football team, and that, I mean, how he goes is how this offense goes, and he's been pressured all day. This is something that Dave Aranda talked about going into halftime, being prepared for this three-headed monster back there.
Devin Neal. Pickup of about 5 on the play.
Good job. 3rd and short. Now, this isn't predictable. This is what offensive coordinator Andy Kolonicki talked about. He wanted to be in third and short situations because then you have the playbook at your disposal. You can do whatever you want. You can run play action, you can hand it off, or you can throw the football. It makes the defensive coordinator have to guess what they're doing and not pin their ears back and come after the quarterback.
They'll go pistol look with Devin Neal. Jason Bean's got a target on either side. He'll flip the tight end. Bean pulls it. First down and more. Jason Bean to the 45-yard line in Baylor territory. JT Woods finally took him down.
JT Woods was shot out of a cannon there. I mean, watch this. This is a great play by Kansas. Jason Bean does a tremendous job, but then JT Woods out of nowhere from center field there to pull him down after the first down. If he's not there, Jason Bean may take it all the way.
Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week. That's just the third down conversion by Kansas today. Bean traveling to the near side.
I think there was some confusion there. Not everybody on the same page. The offensive line was running one play, the wide receivers another, and I believe the quarterback another. 3 plays on one play.
But going back to the last play for Jason Bean running, I mean, how much does it help to have that type of guy who can scramble when you're trying to put in a new offense with just fall camp? Remember, that's all they've had with this team.
It's huge. I mean, essentially when he becomes a runner, you develop and get the extra blocker. So you have an advantage right there, and that's exactly what happened and broke him free for a big first down.
Was looking for Lachlan coming out of the backfield and got lit up. Terrell Bernard.
Haven't talked about Terrell Bernard too much today, but the 6'1", 220-pound senior out of LaPorte High School.
Captain had a shoulder injury last season, had to come back from that. That happened in the 5th game last year. Just a big heart guy, kind of the director of that defense.
And there's things that he can say to his teammates that coaches can't, and I think that's what makes him that type of leader.
3rd and 10. Handoff to Velton Gardner. Not going to get it.
I got to feel that the decision to run the ball in that scenario right there means they were going to go for it on 4th down. Sure enough, Luke Grime comes into the game here. It's a big play here for the Kansas Jayhawks and whether or not they convert. You're talking about 3rd down predictability. I think everybody in the whole stadium knows what's coming here.
First time they have gone for it on 4th down today. Kansas is 1 for 8 on 4th down this season.
Let's call their first charge timeout in the second half. 30 seconds too late.
So Kansas will burn that timeout. Get set, getting ready to go for it on 4th and 8. Other Big 12 games in action today. Oklahoma defeats Nebraska 23-16. Kansas State, I was wondering how they were going to fare against a very good Nevada team, especially without their quarterback, Skylar Thompson. They get the win.
Yeah, just fine. Nevada has a quarterback that's going to play on Sundays next year, Carson Strong. So that's a huge win going up and heading into Stillwater next week. The West Virginia win over number 15 Virginia Tech, huge. I also am going to speak to the West Virginia Mountaineers on Monday, and I needed them to win. I don't want to walk in there after they had lost and then try to be a motivator of sorts. Excited for that. And then Nebraska really hung in there with Oklahoma. I don't know what that says more about where Nebraska's at now or where Oklahoma is.
So they're going for it on 4th down. A deep pass down the field. Oh, just off the fingertips. It was Christian Morgan. The intended target was Kwame Lassiter.
You have one receiver in the sea of 3 Baylor Bears there. It's not probably what they wanted. The young quarterback in his first year with the Kansas Jayhawks probably needed to look more around the 1st down marker, but he took a shot, and now, again, the defense is back on the field with a short field for the Baylor Bears.
Dylan Doyle also back there in coverage. Here comes Baylor. Pistol look with Abram Smith. That's just a tough dude to bring down.
You know, it's difficult when you're on the sideline as a defense and you make a huge play and not see the offense go out and be able to convert for you, because as soon as you get back in, you know, there's just, your head's down a little bit, and when you do that against this Baylor team, boom, 10 yards, just like that.
Abram Smith just needs 6 yards to hit 100. Bohannon under some pressure. Was looking for Ben Sims. Nate Betts got there.
Nate Betts trusted his eyes there, wasn't fooled by the play action, got in the quarterback's face, made him throw it early, and that's been rare today, to see Bohannon pressured and make him throw a inaccurate pass.
2nd and 10. Abram Smith, he's over 100 yards, still on his feet. Inside the 20. He's at 100 yards every game.
We're going to see a lot of that this year. This is a young man who carries the ball incredibly well. The power in his lower body, watch him run through contact. And then when he gets here, guys are just not wrapping up. They're tired. And Abram Smith, with his size and speed, simply is going to walk through and run through people.
So the clock will wind down for the 3rd quarter. Abram Smith, a 28-yard pickup. He's got 122 yards and a touchdown on the ground today.
The Baylor Bears came out from halftime and have absolutely dominated on offense, on defense. They lead 28-7 here in Lawrence.
Welcome back to Big 12 now on ESPN Plus. Baylor leading Kansas 28-7 as we start the 4th quarter, and Baylor on the move once again. Abram Smith has already gone over 100 yards rushing, and this time they'll give it to Treston Ebner. And Ebner falls forward to the 11-yard line. It has been the Baylor ground game. It's been tough to stop.
And it's got to be even tougher to stop when you got both Ebner and Smith in the backfield, like on that play, which, you know, as a defense, how do you prepare for that? Which one do you focus on?
Look at the average yards per play. 8.5 for Baylor.
Every time Baylor takes a snap, they're almost getting a first down. That is the efficiency you want from an offensive unit. Jeff Grimes has got to be incredibly pleased with where they're at so far.
Ebner called on again. Pick up with 2. Baylor had 3 players rush for 100 yards last week in a 66-7 win over Texas Southern. Ebner and Smith were 2 of those. Tay McWilliams was the other.
The play of Gary Bohannon can't be understated either, right? I mean, we're talking about Jeff Grimes, who coached Zach Wilson, the #2 overall pick a year ago. And a guy who stuck around with the new offensive coordinator, has become the leader of this football team.
3rd and 1. And Gary Bohannon up the middle in the end zone. Touchdown Bears!
Incredibly hard when you can get hat on hat if you're a defense. There's an example. The running back becomes his lead blocker. No one touches Bohannon as he walks into the end zone. Smith becomes his lead blocker. Really doesn't have anybody in front of him. Able to knock off a defender just a bit as Bohannon walks into the end zone. This defense has been on the field a long time today in this heat.
Gary Bohannon's 3rd rushing touchdown of the season. Hankins for the point after. 3 touchdowns now in the 2nd half for Baylor.
The Baylor Bears and their fortuitous offense has been special all day. Bohannon once again gets into the end zone. Bears lead 35-7. And I think Lance Leipold was the right choice to get this team and this university going.
We'll have a chance to get going back in the right direction as Kansas is going to go on offense again. Coach Leipold told us he went back and looked at some of the most successful coaches at Kansas and how they did things, and he thought that it lined up pretty closely with what he wanted to do.
Well, you know, he talked about, in terms of who he brought along in his coaching staff, who he kept here. It was about trust. It was about football is still football. No matter where you coach, no matter where you go, because he's been a Division II coach, a Division III coach, he's really made his way to this moment. And it's about character, integrity, and trust.
There's a new quarterback in. Jalen Daniels is in right now for Kansas.
Yeah, the game's a little bit out of hand, 35-7. No reason to risk an injury to your star, Jason Bean. Let the sophomore get a little action.
And they'll hand it off to Devin Neal. Jalen Daniels was one of those three that were in the quarterback competition. Miles Kendrick, along with Jason Bean, who won the job. We saw Daniels last week against Coastal.
He started 3 games a year ago as a 17-year-old.
Wow.
I cannot even imagine having to start a Power 5 game when I was 17 years old.
McBride in motion for Kansas. Lance Leipold is very complimentary of how all 3 quarterbacks have handled the competition too. They're still helping each other. They're still talking over on the sidelines in game to Jason Bean. Hey, what are you seeing? That feedback is there. They've handled it with class.
Yeah, and how's this for speaking volumes? The 3rd string quarterback, Miles Kendrick, who was in that, is the captain on this team. So that speaks volumes to the leadership and the competitive nature of what this position was for, in terms of who would be the starting quarterback.
Daniels trying to go to the air. The ball was batted down. Incomplete. Ika got in there. He's back after sitting out last week for disciplinary reasons. And Baylor's defense does it again.
You know, it's hard to miss a guy who's 6'4", 350 pounds. Ika does a good job of knocking the ball down. And once again, this Jayhawks team goes 3 and out and puts their defense back on the football field.
Ebner lets it go out of bounds.
Again, complimenting the punter, as he, in this second half, has kept it away from Ebner every single time.
We'll step aside. 4th quarter here in Lawrence. Baylor feeling pretty good. Well, Gary Bohannon has thrown 2 touchdowns and ran for a touchdown today.
Yeah, he's been every bit as good as he's been all season long against a quality conference opponent. Throwing on the run, accurate, finding the open receiver, watching guys make big plays for him down the field. You don't have to make them all yourself. Here he does on his own as he walks into the end zone to up this lead to 35-7. Very accurate, 15 of 19, 226 yards and 2 touchdowns, plus the touchdown on the ground. He has firmly found himself in a position of being the guy. There's something he's been doing that's been really unique. He's been taking these younger players and doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night player-only film sessions. The first night with the skill position players, the second night with the O-line, and then the third night with the running backs, which makes him have a very good feeling of everything that's going on. And offensive coordinator Jeff Grimes really trusts him with that machine he has out there running around.
Yeah, Dave Aranda told us, I mean, he's confident, and he's just got this certain charisma about him. He's grounded in everything he says. I mean, he just sounds like a quarterback personality-wise. Falling forward, and will take the ball to the 23-yard line. I'm just more impressed, too, that in the age of the transfer portal, Gary Bohannon has stayed at Baylor. This is his 4th year with the program. He had 15 appearances before this season, and won the quarterback competition between 3 guys.
He had a good opportunity with Matt Rule. He knew that could possibly lead somewhere. And then when Charlie Brewer chose to move on to Utah, he got his opportunity.
R.J. Sneed with the catch and picks up the first down. And Bohannon's talked about how much it helped to play behind Charlie Brewer and learn from him.
Well, I mean, how couldn't it be when you got a guy that is so proficient in throwing the football and was a great leader? And the team was sad to see him go, but knew that they had somebody in place in Gary Bohannon that could take that mantle, could take on that role. And he has. Next week we'll find out a lot more, right? Iowa State comes to town to Waco next week.
And that'll be the first conference home game for Baylor. Tay McWilliams on the carry. What's been the best thing that Bohannon's shown you today?
I think just his ability to bounce back after a rough outing in the first start, right? You know, just you could get down on yourself. You didn't take the shots that they wanted you to take, the things you practiced and done so well all off season. And then to take that constructive criticism, apply it in week 2, and just run with it. That had to have been very, very proud moment for the staff as well as Gary.
Over the middle, completes the pass, couple yards short of the first down, so 3rd down coming up as he connects with Drake Dabney.
You know, this is a good opportunity when we're talking about situational football, where a game's, you know, out of hand, they have it in tow, putting in some younger guys that may need to get on the football field later in the year when there's injuries and things like that. But for Gary Bohannon to go through the offense, take what they're giving him, just to be that way, I think this is a huge opportunity for development for a young guy that doesn't have much experience, but who's been successful so far.
Go under center, I formation, 3rd down, pitches it out to Tay McWilliams. You liked him last week.
Well, you know, when you run for 100 yards on 6 carries, it's easy to like. But they do. They got a speedster here and a guy that works hard, practices hard. Great play call here. Fake dive to a pitch out. They get the block on the outside, and he was able to get the edge before he's knocked out of bounds by the leader there on the defense, Kenny Logan Jr.
1st and 10, Baylor is on the Kansas 48. McWilliams will stay in. Sneed turns around, reaches out for the football. Inside the 40.
I can't tell you what a great throw that was. He had a guy underneath him. There's something about layering the football. We usually talk about it when receivers are running across the middle and you have to throw one over a linebacker but under a safety. That throw there was special. Kind of off his back foot a little bit, just peppered it over the top of the defender and laid it perfectly in the hands of his wide receiver.
It's a 10-yard pickup and another 1st down. Inside the 40 they go. Bohannon all day. Gavin Yates, who's got a touchdown in this game, and Yates to the 20.
All day sitting back there to survey the football field. I could even have made that throw here, I think, at 45, maybe, I don't know. But he was wide open. The question was, could I have put it as perfectly as Gary Bohannon did to Gavin Yates there in the flat?
Yeah, this offensive line has shown just how much they have improved. Hey, 7 plays, 43 yards on this drive already. Oh, McWilliams is loose. McWilliams pushing his way in for the touchdown.
Next man up, Tay McWilliams, doing what Abram Smith and Treston Ebner have been doing all day long. Offensive line continues to, we talked about their inability to wrap up downfield when they get tired. Here's an example. Everybody being run through, no one wraps up. Tay McWilliams gets to the goal line. They'll probably review it just to make sure. Looks like he fell and crossed the plane before his knee hit the ground. Back-to-back weeks now for Tay McWilliams, late in games, getting touchdowns.
Yeah, that's his 2nd rushing touchdown of his career. Like you said, he had a career high 102 yards last week against Texas Southern and a touchdown.
I don't know if there's a camera angle. Yeah, I mean, his hip comes down right about the time the ball crosses, so I don't think there's going to be a vantage point where the replay official can change this from the call on the field.
Yeah, the call was a touchdown, and there is not one as they get ready to kick the point after Hankins. Another solid drive as Baylor just chugging along, living large in Lawrence. Big 12 opener for Baylor and Kansas. And yeah, Baylor up 42-7, 7:10 left to play. And Kansas will start at the 25. Yeah, that Texas Tech game coming up at the top of the hour. Tyler Show coming in for his career over 2,100 yards through the air, 18 touchdowns.
Yeah, a couple Pac-12 transfers there. Colin Schooler, as well as Tyler Shuck from Oregon. Big difference maker. This team's 2-0 to start the season. They have a good chance to go up 3-0 this season. It's going to be a rough and tumble Big 12. I really think so. I think the game I get next week, too, could be a matchup between two undefeateds. A couple teams vying for maybe the top spot now that Oklahoma hasn't really showcased who people really thought they were when the season started, I think.
They did get a win over Nebraska today, but yeah, I mean, they've struggled. There's been times they probably should have lost.
Yeah, they probably should have lost to Tulane.
Yep.
A couple weeks ago, they're late, and Pratt, the quarterback for Tulane, looked better than Rattler. I mean, Rattler hasn't been what, Mel Kiper came out and said he's his #1 guy, which I think a lot of people take what Mel Kiper has to say, and then they just anoint him like he must be the first pick in the draft then. Mel Kiper can be wrong. He had me as the top player in '97, by the way.
Right now, who are you taking first then?
Right now, you know what?
Way too early picks.
Too early. I can't do that. I can't do that because I haven't seen enough this year. If I'm going by like great quarterback play so far this year, I'm looking at a lot of young kids. Bryce Young has looked incredibly impressive. C.J. Stroud has looked really good at Ohio State. I mean, they put up almost 650 yards of total off against Oregon in a loss last week. So, speaking of Bryce Young, that Alabama-Florida game is getting interesting down there in the swamp, folks.
Yeah, for Kansas, it's been a tough afternoon. Amari Pezic-Hickson takes it. Jason Bean, they pulled him on the last drive. Jalen Daniels, and Bean didn't play bad. I mean, he had some good moments and really can bail this Kansas offense out of things. He's
their best player by far. He's going to be running for his life a lot this year, and that's just how it's going to be. He's got to be patient, try to get better every single week. Understand that it's going to be tough sledding, but this is about the future. This is a marathon, not a sprint, what Lance Leipold is trying to communicate to these young men.
Daniels handed it off, and there was a fumble. Did Baylor recover it? Yes.
Fumble recovered by the defense. First down.
Devin Neal was there, not the Devin Neal for Kansas, the one for Baylor, who's number 14.
That's the one thing, if I would have taken away from this game, is that Baylor hadn't created a turnover. But Devin Neal right there knocks the ball out as he's falling down, strips it with his hand, recovered by Baylor. 22 now takeaways in the 11 games. Watch as he goes down. Watch him pull the ball as he falls to the ground there. That's great ball skills by the young man. 22 takeaways in 11 games coached by Dave Aranda. That is exceptional. That's a variable that you can't really quantify because you have no idea how the ball is going to bounce. But their ability to be around the football and take it away is huge.
Yeah, first time that Kansas has turned the ball over this season. Jacob Zeno in at quarterback. the handoff goes to Craig Williams.
Gary Bohannon's day is done, and an incredible day in that. Jacob Zeno, the 6'2", 210-pound sophomore out of San Antonio. Be his second week to get a little mop-up duty, get some reps.
He'll roll out and look to throw. Oh, and the pass is dropped.
There hasn't been much to be critical of Baylor. Wonderful job in play action there. Rolls to his right. Finds the wide open receiver in Hal Presley, the 6'3", 200-pound freshman. And he just drops it.
3rd and 7 here for Jacob Zeno and Baylor. Hold it. He's going to be short of the first down.
I throw my kicker out there. Give him a chance. He hasn't had much action today. A little situational football. I'm probably going to need him down the line next week, maybe, against Iowa State in a big Big 12 matchup.
And so Isaiah Hankins is out. This will be a 48-yard field goal. His career high is 43. Oh, and he got it. Everybody performing well today for Baylor. 3 more points tacked on for the Bears. Well, we knew coming into this game, the big 3, if you will, Gary Bohannon, Treston Ebner, and Abram Smith would have a big impact on this game, and they certainly have. They've helped Baylor put up 540 yards of total offense today.
Yeah, they've been incredibly efficient. They've done what they needed to do. The running back position's been physical. This all leads to how well the offensive line played. Really, when they do their job, it allows for the likes of Treston Ebner, Abram Smith, and Gary Bohannon to do theirs, and they've done it exceptionally well to start the season.
3:36 left in the 4th quarter, and they've used them all so well too. I mean, it must be fun for these guys to play in this offense.
Yeah, fun for them to be in the offense. It's got to be even more fun for first-year offensive coordinator Jeff Grimes, right? Because you know he's got a huge pantry full of ingredients, and he's in there cooking it all up. And we're lucky enough to get to see it play out on Saturdays. You know, if you're a Waco fan if you're a Baylor fan and you're in the Waco area next week, get yourself down to that stadium. That's going to be a heck of a game. The Cyclones come to town. Everybody assumed Iowa State was going to be this team. They were disappointing a week ago. To Iowa, they travel out and play at UNLV late tonight. That's going to be an interesting game for the top of the Big 12 early in the season.
And that'll be Baylor's Big 12 home opener. Miles Kendrick is in at quarterback for Kansas for the first time today. So what would you say is the next step for Baylor after this game?
Well, I don't know if there's going to be a signature win because of who they've played for the AP poll to showcase them this week heading into the game. I have them in my top 25. I'm a little biased, of course. Haven't seen them in action in the last 2 weeks and how exciting they are. But like I said, next week's going to tell the tale of their season. I really believe that.
Ball is handed off to Torrey Loughlin. Back to the line of scrimmage. He goes. A.J. McCarty in.
Boy, those corners and safeties for the Baylor Bears. Doesn't matter if they're the backup, they're the starter. They just flat out come at you with their speed, and they'll be physical and hit you. Right there, A.J. McCarty, 5'11", 195 pounds, soaking wet, just ripped from the field cornerback position and put a beating on in Kansas.
Handoff again to Loughlin. I mean, each week more and more we're seeing the Dave Aranda defense come out. It helps it's year 2, but it's just that signature, that physicality, that toughness. And he had talked to them a lot about this week about we before me, playing for each other, going out there as a unit. And we saw that today.
They're the epitome, right? The amount of takeaways they've had in Aranda's first 11 games. And Jalen Petrie is the guy that stirs the drink. He's that straw. He got compared this week to some pretty impressive names. Jamal Adams and Grant Delpit, both guys that played that star position for Dave Aranda at LSU. I mean, that's some heavy company to be in. And Petrie hasn't disappointed this year for him. He's going to be a big part of what they do on the defensive side of the football the rest of the way through.
Well, look at these guys go, what they've done today. There's Abram Smith.
Well, when you got holes that big, you better get the yards, and he sure has all day long. Offensive line deserves a ton of credit. Both Smith and Ebner carrying the ball well, protecting the football. Only one turnover by this running back duo. They get into the end zone a lot. Then Bohannon complements it with his own fleet footwork there.
271 yards on the ground, part of those 540 total yards. Blake Shapen is in at quarterback now for Baylor. Just a minute 34 to go. Monterey Baldwin. Something just clicked in the third quarter. Their first drive, a 69-yard touchdown pass to R.J. Sneed, and it was how they started the game. They started out tough, faded a little bit in that second quarter. Kansas got a little momentum. Haven't seen it since.
Yeah, for whatever reason, the dominance in the first half didn't necessarily produce points.
Right, it was 14-7 at halftime.
And I think in the second half, we saw the continued dominance. They were just able to be more efficient and produce points on big plays.
Tay McWilliams, another first down as he crosses midfield.
Now, my favorite play in all of football. If they're lucky to line up for it here, they'll most likely take a knee. No, I'm gonna let Tay McWilliams see if he can bust another one here just to put an exclamation point on the night.
Wow, 330 yards on first down today.
9.5 yards every time they take a snap, yeah.
There's McWilliams, back the other way he goes. And the clock will continue to rock.
That should do it.
Man, what a game for Baylor.
Yeah, it was. You know, we felt like this was a possibility going into the game. Kansas really fought tooth and nail in that first half. Made Dave Aranda and his coaches really have a kind of, you know, come to Jesus moment maybe in the locker room there. Talk about what needs to be done in the second half to showcase who you are and what the Big 12 needs to understand. You're about to embark on, and they did that. They came to play in the second half. Let's get a smile, Coach. Let's get a smile.
45-7 win. There's Dave Aranda. What a victory for Baylor. They come on the road in their Big 12 opener against Kansas and put up 45 points, 576 yards of total offense for this crew. It is going to be tough to stop this rushing attack.
It's going to be incredibly tough. Now, my biggest question about this Baylor Bears team, if you run up against a defense the likes of TCU, Iowa State next week, where they load the box and turn you into a one-dimensional team, and Gary Bohannon has to be a true passer only, is he capable of getting it done? What I've seen in the last 2 weeks is an incredibly accurate quarterback, a pocket passer who actually can use his feet when needed, and that's the most difficult quarterback to prepare for if you're a defensive coordinator.
So Baylor leaves with the win. They will get Iowa State next week. Kansas goes to Duke next week. Baylor making a statement on the road in their Big 12 opener, their 12th straight victory over Kansas, and they do it by putting up 45 points. 45-7. That's your final score from Lawrence.